You know when, if you're not from California, you envision LA to be beaches and palm trees and surfers and flip-flops? Well, you're certainly not going to get those vibes in Hollywood, but it's what West LA is all about. Or is it? What is life really like on LA's west side? Let me show you. But first, what constitutes as the West Side? The official delineation is arbitrary. There are some people who will say the West Side is anything west of the 405, meaning primarily the beach cities, and then many others, myself included, will probably say the West Side is anything west of La Cienega Boulevard. I don't know, I lived in Culver City for many years, and I just always consider myself to be in West LA. Does it really matter though? For the purpose of this video, we're gonna primarily be spending the time here at the beach cities. I'm at Venice Beach right now. Let's make our way over to Santa Monica. It is an absolutely stunning day. One might say the West Side is all about the outdoors. With the ocean as your backdrop, people on the West Side generally enjoy coastal living and everything that Southern California has to offer. Think Baywatch, where lifeguards run in slow motion in Santa Monica to save the beachgoers and keep the beaches here flowing. The only thing is, in reality, Baywatch may have worked a bit better in, let's say, Miami. Because LA beaches, let's be real, just aren't really pristine and stunning. They're nice, but the Pacific Ocean stays cold all year round. I mean, the warmest the ocean gets is like 65 degrees in August. Not only that, but a little local secret, the beaches here are notoriously known to not really be that swimmable. They generally can have really high levels of bacteria and things you just don't really want on your body. A little secret, if you actually want to swim at some nice SoCal beaches, the South Bay is where it's at. So I hate to say that the beach life in LA is not the same as, let's say, Baywatch, or even, let's say, South Florida beaches. Can we take it to South Florida for just 1 minute? Okay, let's go. While I cannot say Florida is better than California, I mean, come on. There's no denying that the beach culture is very lively. It's hot all year round, the ocean can reach literally 100 degrees, and there's even iguanas just running amok everywhere. You know what? Let's take it back to LA. Although West LA is not just all about the beaches. We'll get into that later, but first, the skies are so blue and everyone is outside. Let's go for a ride. I know it's a weekend, but Venice is really lively today. The liveliest I've seen it in a long time. The vibe is so high, it's a beautiful day, people are being quirky and their weird selves here on the West Side, and I love to see it. West Side lifestyle tends to focus a bit more on health and fitness compared to, let's say, the East Side of LA, which tends to focus a little bit more on the arts and culture scene. While showing Muscle Beach here in Santa Monica is probably the most extreme example. This is probably as in your face as it gets. I guess besides the more Botox and plastic surgery that you tend to find on the West Side. But I'll also say I love the hiking trails in West LA. So let's go on a hike. If I'm going to recommend a hike in LA, it's probably going to be a West Side hike. And here's why. Ugh, it's already so hot out and I'm already tired. Help me, Rhonda. And here at Los Leones Trail in the Palisades, of course, not only amazing views of Los Angeles, but the ocean. The nice thing about West Side hikes is that they tend to be a little less crowded and a little less scenic than, let's say, Runyon Canyon, which is flocked with tourists and people wanting to be in more of that superficial LA scene. Not everyone, of course, but more. Here on the west side, though, it's kind of more about the outdoor appreciation. At least, that's my take on it. So, is the west side the best side? Well, it's safe to say that people who live here for a reason. The LA city life is more of an afterthought than a lifestyle.
There are these crazy rumors that if you get in your car and you actually drive east away from the beach, there's some city and other stuff, but personally, I don't believe it.
The vibe here is obviously a little bit more laid back, there's more open space, and generally might feel a little bit more cleaner and elegant than other streets in LA. However, what makes the west side definitely different is one can argue that this part of the city lacks culture and diversity that you'll find elsewhere in Los Angeles County. I mean, have you ever been to the Palisades? The Pacific Palisades borders Santa Monica and is definitely a more family-oriented pocket of the county. But by family-oriented, I mean upper-class family-oriented, and where 80% of this neighborhood's population is white. So where many Angelinos might love to get their cultural fix and cuisines in Koreatown or East LA, you're probably not going to find much cultural diversity here. But hey, there's an Alfred Coffee, you know, that place that coined the very LA term, but first coffee, and sells oat milk lattes for like $8. There's also, of course, an Erewhon here, which sure, there's an Erewhon now all over the city, but it definitely signals West Side culture. You know, grocery shopping for the wealthy with overpriced smoothies and food that is super Instagrammable, but lacks any real depth. It was also a little crazy to see so many parking tickets as if it's just no big deal. With that being said though, certain parts of West LA can simply feel new. And quite literally too, whereas much of LA is rooted in history and culture, a place such as Playa Vista, for example, is quite new. Back in the 90s, this was mainly underdeveloped land, and now it's a booming tech scene against a very polished and manicured palm tree lined neighborhood. It's nice for sure, but you can definitely say it lacks some deep, interesting urban culture here. However, if there's any block that can best describe West LA from a cultural standpoint, it's gotta be Abbot Kinney Boulevard, which in 2012, GQ called it the coolest block in America. I don't know if I totally agree with that statement, but it does represent that outdoor city life within one block. Riding bird scooters, shopping for beachwear and board shorts, having lunch outside, and getting overpriced coffee from Intelligentsia. Oh, that does sound tempting.
Well, I'm here, and I'm not $7 plus tip.
Shut it, Keurig. You don't taste as good. I do think that when a lot of people visit LA and stay on this side of the city, they'll be exposed to very stereotypical West LA culture and then consider the city to be superficial. But what is living here actually like on a day-to-day basis? Well, a big downside to living on the west side is that you're less likely to socialize and see friends frequently who live, let's say, east of the 405 or east of La Cienega. The traffic going in and out of this part of the city can be brutal. And while West LA might be, let's say, a little bit more bikeable, whether it be at the beach or in Santa Monica, I'm not sure I'd say it's more walkable than other areas of the city. Even for LA standards, it's kind of less pedestrian friendly. The one exception may be downtown Santa Monica, where it's pretty walkable and you have the Expo line to take you right into the city quite easily, but generally life on the west side is giving more suburban California. And now approaching suburban hell on earth here on the west side. I mean, this enormous Costco parking lot kind of reflects that. Fighting people for spots here at the Costco parking lot, suburban life. Waiting in line for 15 minutes just to save a few cents on gas. suburban life. Saving every dollar really helps here.
Oh, be so for real.
Alright, shut it, Keurig. But the lifestyle here doesn't come cheap. West LA is generally the more expensive section of the city, especially when it comes to housing costs and rent. I recently went on a house tour with a friend who was looking to buy on the west side, and not only are the prices for, let's say, 2-bedroom condos nearing $1 million right now, the competition is brutal. For just about every home on the market, there are bidding wars that are escalating the asking price as much as $150K over value. I saw it firsthand, even with very high interest rates. With multiple offers on a home, it seems you basically have to beg the sellers and write a life story to lock down one. Apartments in West LA don't come cheap either, an example being Santa Monica, where you probably won't find a 1-bedroom to be any cheaper than $3K a month, and the catch, less amenities, meaning no laundry or AC. I don't even use my AC that much because the temperatures here on the west side typically are much cooler than they can be in inner parts of the city. It's both good and bad because in the winter it can definitely be under 60 degrees, whereas just a few miles inland it can be 10 degrees warmer. It does have its benefits though because you pretty much get that constant ocean breeze throughout the day, and it has to be my favorite part about having an apartment here. Summers where it's 75 degrees by the coast compared to over 100 degrees in the valley, I'll take this. However, it does come with some cons, and that would be the very depressing marine layer. For someone who has some pretty bad seasonal depression, the marine layer makes me question my entire existence. Okay, a little dramatic. I'll take it back a step. Especially in the late spring and early summer, the skies of LA are casted with this apocalyptic, never-ending gloom. While it's common for the gloom to burn off by midday typically, a lot of the times, especially on the west side, it could last for days on end and weeks on end. For a place that's so well known for beach culture, you'd be surprised at how many days of the year are not actually beach days. Although what really keeps me going during these months at least is the hope for a nice sunset. The best part about living on the west side has to be the easy access you get to the most incredible ocean sunsets. I know it sounds a bit corny, but I've probably had some of my most meditative and spiritual moments just being here at golden hour. West LA may have some imperfections, but if you're lucky enough to live here, you really have everything at your fingertips. And you can truly create your own West Coast fantasy. And that is why the west side is the best side.